Today I'm going to show you how to fix your histamine intolerance in days. I know a lot of you are suffering from all sorts of food intolerances. I've seen some people only allowed to eat 5 foods, which completely destroyed their social life. Like they couldn't go out, they couldn't eat anything, they couldn't eat their favorite foods anymore. And like literally within a week, I had them eating whatever they wanted without any symptoms. So we're going to go over what it is, the cause, and the treatment. And the treatment that you're doing now is it's not probably making it worse. It is for sure making it worse because it's not addressing the root cause of the problem. So my name's Mike, the Heal Your Gut Guy. I used to have Crohn's and colitis and all sorts. I had inflammation in just about every single part of my intestines except for the transverse. It was a mess. Now I look like a normal person. I function like a normal person, and I help many other people do this. My main method for helping people is with my 13-day protocol, and I'm going to share with you some of the methods that I use in here to heal your gut. So, all right. What is histamine intolerance? So I looked up a few different definitions of what histamine intolerance is. One definition was the digestive system isn't breaking down histamine during the digestive process, and then the histamine goes into your body and you get an inflammatory response. Okay. The next definition is that when histamine makes it to a certain part of makes it into your body, that the body isn't breaking down histamine, which leads to an inflammatory response. And I'm choking on my words here because it just literally does not make any sense whatsoever logically. So, essentially what these definitions are saying is if I eat a high histamine food, which I've eaten my whole life, so I eat a food, right? Let's draw a stick figure person. So a lot of people will only have a face rash, right? I've seen plenty of people where they eat a certain food and their face gets super red. Nothing else on their body gets red except for their face. So you're telling me you ate this food, the histamine didn't get digested or it didn't get broken down. It got digested and then absorbed into the bloodstream, and that histamine went everywhere in the body, and it only decided to react with your face, on your face. That histamine only decided to express itself or on the face and not anywhere else in the body. That literally makes that does not logically add up whatsoever at all. So if you're taking enzymes or you're taking supplements to help break down histamine, and you're taking even the people who are on a low histamine diet, they still have tons of symptoms. They're changing their diet every day, and they're just not seeing any results, even after hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars of investments in doing this. So the guy who really figured out what histamine intolerance is or was, his name was Dr. Hammer, and he could look at your brain CT scan and know exactly what conditions you had. So if somebody would come into his office and said, like, I have histamine intolerance, what's your symptoms? Oh, I have histamine. That's not a symptom. That's a condition that's not based on logic. What are your symptoms? Oh, okay, I have a face rash. You have a rash anywhere else? Nope, only on the face. So he'd go, okay. And he would know this just by looking at their CT scan. He mapped out every disease in the brain. So, if somebody had gut issues, then the brain stem would light up like a Christmas tree. This is called German New Medicine, by the way. It's a new way of thinking about how disease operates in the body. If somebody had, I know a lot of people with histamine intolerance have, arthritis. If somebody had arthritis in the hands, a certain part of this brain would light up. If somebody had arthritis in their feet, a different part of the brain would light up. And if somebody had, stomach ulcers, a different part of the brain would light up. If somebody was depressed, a different part of the brain would light up. And he mapped out everything. Every part of the brain had, controlled a different condition. And essentially what he figured out is that this is caused by a traumatic event, a conflict shock that was isolating, dramatic, and caught you off guard. So, let's go with this analogy. Somebody with a face rash, that if it's eczema, acne and eczema are two separate things. But if it's eczema or psoriasis, it's what do I want to separate from or don't want to separate from? And now let's say this person's like convinced they're gluten intolerant. There's too much histamine in gluten. Every time I have gluten, my face breaks out in eczema. Well, the first thing I would ask this person is, when did this start? Why did your body all of a sudden decide not to process gluten correctly? When did that happen? When did you decide you were gluten intolerant? When did these symptoms start? And at first it's like, I don't know. Well, okay, well, let's start guessing. What year was it? Were you in high school? Were you in college? Were you in middle school? I don't know. Was it your first job out of college? Which job was it at? Okay, all right. It was senior year of high school. So all right, start making the timeline. Senior year, last year of high school. Did it happen before or after winter break? Before or after Christmas? When did it happen? When did you start getting this? Oh, I don't know. Well, try to remember. Go look at your Facebook. Go look at your Instagram. And so, sometimes I'll be looking at their Instagram or their Facebook and be like, okay, here you don't have eczema, and here it's really bad. So I can tell, somewhere between here and here, that's when the eczema started. What was going on then? Oh, I don't know. Well, I can see your boyfriend's in the picture, and then your boyfriend's not in the picture here. Did you guys break up? Oh, yeah, that was so traumatic. One of the big things about trauma that used to frustrate me at first is the brain suppresses it. The subconscious mind hides it from the conscious mind to protect us so that we can function and not be devastated by this conflict, so that we can function throughout the day, especially if it's been going on for a very long time. And that's part of the problem, is in the moment it's too much to handle, and so the subconscious mind, this is not like a dig at your ability to like solve conflicts. It's a split-second decision, subconscious decision by your subconscious to, this person cannot consciously handle this conflict. Let's throw an organ into overdrive. So, I'm having this person tell the story, and he goes, oh yeah, I was out to dinner, with my boyfriend, and, only the bread had been served. So we're just eating bread and butter, and I went to go grab the bread, and my boyfriend's phone lit up. And I saw it was a text from another girl that said, hey, let me know when you're free tonight so we can meet up. That was when I figured out my boyfriend was cheating on me. So during this shocking moment, now a lot of people will they'll focus on the conflict. Oh yeah, me and my boyfriend, we broke up and we fought for like 6 months. But what was the shocking moment that put the relationship in the crapper? And notice how I used the word crapper. The relationship went to crap. He's a piece of crap. If I'm speaking about that subconsciously, I'm just like subconsciously using that language, then it could make sense that, I might subconsciously linked getting rid of this piece of crap with the body part that deals with eliminating and storing crap, the colon. But this person, they had psoriasis, eczema on their face. So it was a separation conflict. They didn't want to be, in this moment, like they wanted to separate, but didn't want to separate from their boyfriend. This all happened in an instant, subconsciously. And in that moment, the phone could be a PTSD, could get registered as a PTSD trigger. Going out to dinner could be a PTSD trigger. Being served bread could be a PTSD trigger. Being exposed to bread at all. Because when she touched the bread, that's when she had the shock. So now the bread's guilty by association, subconsciously. And probably also consciously because we watch one too many holistic nutbag videos. Gluten's bad for you. Protein's bad for you. It's like absolutely psycho. Especially if you are part of any sort of the Christian faith, because it's either the devil or it's the body of Christ. You decide what you want it to be. But that's how it gets subconsciously registered as a PTSD trigger, and then when you encounter it, your face freaks out. And it's like, oh, I couldn't digest the histamine. You didn't even eat the bread yet. You just saw the bread and you're already having a histamine reaction. You're telling me you ate that bread, it went all throughout your intestines, and half of your intestines are fine, maybe a little bit's inflamed, and then it went into your bloodstream, and that histamine went all over your body, and it only decided to sit in your face? That literally makes no sense whatsoever. Dr. Hammer would look at everybody with eczema, and he would look in, I think it was like here, I don't know where it is, I don't really focus on this much, but every time he saw somebody with eczema, psoriasis, a very particular part of their brain would light up. Yeah, it's right here. So I guess that would be like this. And depending on which body part it was, this would be a very hard part to look at. And it's only on a CT scan. So how do you fix this? The way I help people fix this is I put them through my 13-day protocol. It teaches them the basics of German new medicine. We're literally one thought away from deprogramming our subconscious mind from having this reaction. The memory that got put into your mind that started this was, at dinner, you touching the bread and catching your boyfriend, texting some other hoe. That's what it was. So, and we need to bring that to consciousness. I've met with people, when I do one-on-one calls with people, I've met with people where like literally on the third call that comes out. And, and that's like 3-4 hours of refining and talking about the timeline. The timeline is the therapy. And, it might help to, get a better boyfriend and all that stuff, or to join the nunnery. But, and it's very interesting. When they look at nunneries and monkeries, the monks and the nuns that take a vow of silence always have more diseases because they don't have the tool of verbalization and talking to deal with their conflicts. Even though they're super mentally disciplined and they're so-called holy. So this is the route you need to start to take. You need to stop with all the holistic nut crap. It's terrible. The holistic stuff, like they literally make you afraid of your own shadow. They literally make you afraid of sugar, which is like what literally powers everything in your body. They make you afraid of everything. They make it impossible to live a normal life where you can go out and eat with your friends and family. They make it impossible to spend your money on things that are fun. Like when I was dealing with my gut issues, I only spent my money on supplements. I never spent my money on anything fun, like nice furniture, nice TV, nice car. It was always on some stupid supplement that didn't do anything. Or driving hours to a farm and, meat tasted a little bit better, but like in general, it didn't do anything for my histamine intolerance. And so what this program does is I'm poking at your brain and your memory bank from different angles and giving you the belief system necessary. Because if you believe it's caused by food, your brain won't even allocate the calories required. The calories required to dig up that memory. It's like, it's not where, I don't believe this. I'm not, no, I'm not going to waste the calories thinking about this because I know it's caused by food. Even though all of my friends, they eat whatever they want and they have zero symptoms. And even though I eat a perfect diet and I have the horrible symptoms. And if I walk one toe off this holistic tightrope, it snaps, you know, the hippie rubber band things? It comes up and it hits you in the crotch. One little step. But meanwhile, your friends and family are doing whatever they want and they have no symptoms. It started after a traumatic event. One of the complaints that I hear about German New Medicine is they don't teach you how to do the therapy. You know, this book has like literally zero guidance on therapy. It's a great book. I couldn't do what I do without, you know, Dr. Hammer's foundational work. You know, a lot of what he did, you know, he treated people who were conflict active. So it was like, okay, we got to like solve this person's conflict and then they'll get better. But for us, we've already like resolved the conflict on some level and we're haunted by the PTSD triggers. So I spend a ton of time helping you make the timeline and have these realizations on how it's linked. Like literally just realizing that, oh, I was reaching for the breadbasket when I saw my boyfriend's phone receive a text message from another girl, and I remember I threw the bread at him and he threw the bread back at me, and it was I'm gonna shove this baguette up your butt, you know, type of a conversation. And only you can make those realizations. And the best way I know how to do that is to put the proper beliefs into your head and give you the proper education to dig through this little nest of memories right here. And this 13-day protocol has exercises in it that, you know, guide you through this process. Because if you do normal German New Medicine education, it's like all on like, your blood sugar will go up if, you know, in the conflict active phase and da-da-da-da-da. All this technical stuff, where really all you need to know is when the conflict's active and when you encounter PTSD trigger, the organ goes into overdrive and you get symptoms. And, you know, and then when the conflict gets resolved, you know, there's things that happen as well. So, you know, that's like literally can be simplified like that, like a few other details, but like it's like literally hours and hours and hours of details you don't need to know. And by the time you learn that poorly, you have no brain power left over to focus on the therapy part, which is really what we need to be focusing on. And there's zero guidance. So I've really taken it upon myself to kind of help you understand how a traumatized brain works. It's just like, it does a lot of funny things that it's like, the conscious mind's a liar, to be completely honest. It's like, it's always trying to mislead you when you're trying to find this thing. So, you know, I help you navigate through that. So I have a mini version of this. It's down in the description, or you know, you can click it on the end screen right here. But this is, you need to start taking this approach. You need to stop with the diets, you know, stop with the supplements. There's certain supplements that help, you know, that yeah, you should eat a little bit cleaner. But this crazy holistic zealotry is literally just making things worse up here and making your histamine intolerance worse. You need to take this trauma-based approach to fixing your histamine intolerance. It's the only way you can get better.